What does the Black Male Community Council mean to you?
Peace. My name is Brother Stanley. The Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia means it's an opportunity for us as black men to come together with an action plan that we can go out into our community and, number one, effectuate change, and number two, be a present for our women, children, and elders. So at the end of the day, they can see that we, the black men, has come together with a practical and applicable action plan that we can use to help, number one, secure the women, children, and elders. Number two, keep a clean environment for our women, children, and elders. And number three, help our young brothers mediate circumstances as they arise. And number four, to be able to bring education to the minds and spirit of our young brothers. That's what the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia means to me.
Why did you join the Black Male Community Council?
That's a good question. Number one is I joined because my son was murdered in September the 8th of 2018. And the murdering of my son is really what facilitated me, number one, to be a part of the Black Male Community Council, and number two, to start to advocating for the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia because of the tragedy of, number one, losing a son, but number two is experiencing the rippling effect of his murder throughout my family, number one, throughout his friends and his associates, number two. And that experience alone let me know that we as black men have to come out of these edifice that we are all in and come in and have boots on the ground so we can meet our young brothers where they at and hopefully help them come out of the demonic spirit that is occupying their mind, body, and spirit. So that's the basic what it is.
What effect do you think the Black Male Community Council will have on the community?
The effect that I believe that it would have on the community is this. Number one is we have already experienced some of the effect. You know, there's two cleanups that we already participated on. One is at 12th and Huntington, and today we participated at one at 16th and Wing and Hopkins in the Nicetown section of the city. The spirit of a clean community and seeing people, especially our young people and our women and children, being able to move about in a clean, crisp, clean area. And the effect that I believe that it would have, it would bring hope to our women, children, and elders. And hopefully it would bring hope to our young brothers that we, quote unquote, the OGs, old heads, do care about them and is willing to come and be amongst them and help them wherever we can help them at. That's what I do.
What action item are you responsible for?
Well, that's another good question. I try to the best of my ability, not to take ownership because I believe that whatever good we do, it comes through us and not from us. And again, as a result of the murdering of my son, I am one of the ones who God used as a spiritual instrument to bring this Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia into existence. And as a result of that, I am probably a multifaceted aspect of the Black Male Community Council, part of the steering committee, part of the brain trust of the Black Male Community Council. And at the end of the day, I wear many hats, and I'm willing to participate in all, especially the four basic committees that we have, which is mediation, security, education, and cleanup. So at any of them committees that I can be of service in, that's what I'm going to do.
Name 3 outcomes that you would like to see come from this organization.
Well, one of the main objects that I hope that we're able to accomplish, or goals we could accomplish, is to diminish or eliminate the violence and murder and mayhem that is taking place specifically amongst the young black males. That's number one. Number two is a demonstration to our women, children, and elders that we, the black men, do have their best interests at heart and that they could depend on us. You know, I always talk about the Willie Lynch letter, and especially that portion, the making of a slave. What was done to us as a result of the Willie Lynch process, whether it was real or unreal, is something that we have to undo. And this will help us in the process of undoing the shifting of the male and female relationship amongst black people in particular. So if it shifts the relationship between the black man and the black women, which is that the black women can now feel as though they can depend on the black man. And number 3 is this. Listen, at the end of the day, we as black men have to be able to recognize that no one is coming to our rescue. That if we don't come into the community, if we don't come and do what we're proposing to do on this level here, just a simple level, clean up, security, mediation, and education. If we can't do that, then there's no way on God's green earth that we can look in the mirror and call ourselves men. So I hope that it helps us regain our manhood and our manhood responsibility.
My name is Adib Abdullah. The Black Male Community Council means to me is that I have the opportunity to give back to the community. I believe that the main crutch or goal is to put the neighbor back in the hood. We want to be able to have that kind of affinity and care and understanding for each other as we did when I was growing up. It's important because nowadays we become fragmented. We need to realize that if the group doesn't survive, the individual is gone. So in doing that, and plus as being a responsible male, you can tell a male by the responsibility he takes on in his life. This call, this black awareness, this community involvement is a responsibility that separates the men from the boys. The reason why I joined, because as you know, you become more responsible. I couldn't just stand by and allow the decay that's happening in our community without putting my hand up, because what I'm doing, I'm just a byproduct of the community that raised me when I was coming up. I didn't have to worry about almost anything. When I got on the block, whatever needed to be done, if I was someplace they would say, you better go home, they calling you, and I was going. The first effect will be a positive effect. It'll be the kind of illuminating consciousness. I would call it like the Hall's Mytholyptus for the mind. You begin to breathe a fresh air again. Begin to see that your community is not always gloomy. That there's hope now. There's a restoration of the community life. And that's more important than anything, because you want to be able to go home, go to work, or go wherever you need to do, and come back home with a safe mind. Well, my action item, I've been blessed. I'm a licensed professional counseling psychologist. The thing that I want to do is to be a part of the re-education process. The part of the re-education process so people can understand that our behavior is determined by our intellect, by our thinking. And we don't want to be a part of the herd mentality anymore. We don't want to be doing things because everybody is doing things without being conscious of what we're doing. What I've found in our community is that the enemy is the enemy. That we're our own worst enemies. And we want to turn this around. We want to be self-supporting through our own contributions economically, politically, educationally, and culturally. So as we give back to the community, we will hold them responsible. The political, the economic, the political, the educational, and cultural aspects, we will hold them accountable for assisting us in doing what we need to do. Now that we're up on our legs again, now that we're standing to put back the neighbor back in the hood.
What does the Black Male Community Council mean to you?
It means a platform where you have a chance to clean up your community, to protect the children, the women and the elders, and learn how to interface with the other people that's in the community.
Tell me, why did you join the Black Male Community Council?
Because I was part of the problem at one time. And I not only want to be part of the solution, I want to be an asset. I want to help, I want to give back. Because I see the destruction in our communities. We build a lot of bridges, we build a lot of walls, but not enough bridges.
What effect do you think the Black Male Community Council will have on the community?
Well, when you start seeing people cleaning up their community, and they come out, they do want to see a clean community, they tend to want to protect that community. They tend to want to take care of that community and nurture the community into the gardens of peace and nonviolence that it should be. Well, basically, overall, everything, the mediation, the security, to make sure everything is running properly.
How do you think this will affect the community?
Well, it all depends on how they receive us and the interfacing, the interacting with the community. Once they see people are coming in not trying to start anything but actually clean up the neighborhood, then it's a little different than somebody just coming in the neighborhood saying, hey, stop doing this and stop doing that. That's not what we're about. We're about peace. And we're about cleaning the neighborhood up block by block. Keeping a clean neighborhood, keeping a safe neighborhood, and keeping a peaceful neighborhood.
My name is Tyrone Young. I'm a member of the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia. It means an opportunity to help our community. It means an opportunity for me to do some things in my community. At times, I want to do some work. I want to help some people, you know what I mean? Because some things in my life, I was a destructive path, but now I'm trying to do some things different and help my community.
There you go.
Just people and people, a community need to know they care. The people care. The people that they see that look like them care about who they are and what they're doing in their life. You know what I mean? Just something real simple.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Gamil Aziz of the Black Male Community Council of Philadelphia. Black Male Community Council, what it means to me, it's an address to the ongoing senseless violence and what have you that's going on with our youth. We understand now that ain't nobody coming to help us. We're into a paradigm of helping ourselves. We're going to identify some different aspects of different communities, some different hotspot locations, and we're going to go out and turn punk into power, and we're going to use our energies to try to do something. We're going to be praying, calling on the ancestors for help, and we actually want to be a presence. A lot of people are talking, a lot of people are meeting, but we want to go out to the community and be visible and available to make our elderly, our women, and our children be safe, and we want to clean the environments up. We want to provide security for them, and we also want to get with the youth and have a mediation, so if they want to resolve some of the disputes, just to maybe curtail some of the violence that we're having in our city. Personally, I joined because of my not religious but spiritual beliefs. See, it is my contention that when I go to meet the Creator, instead of complaining, He's going to ask me, "But what did you do about it?" And as a black man, I feel though it is our obligation and our duties. One of the main duties is to protect our elderly, our women, and our children. People need to see role models. We need to show black males, and the applicable word that we're using is black males, because we not only want to be working with men, we want to work with the youth. We want to bring them in. We want to talk to them, and we want to allow them to see male role models, what men change their perception of what they think a man is to be. And we want to be there and show that to them. My action out, it's an old ancient proverb that says, if you learn, you must teach. And because of my feelings is that a lot of the stuff that is going on, a lot of our people, a lot of our children, a lot of our youth, they don't really know who they are. So my expertise is going to be in the education department. I believe that if we could affect the community by going out and showing them a model that just may spread not only locally but nationally and be effective. Like, for instance, we're working on something now in terms of mediation. Sometimes we can't wait till we totally organize and mobilize. We are actually doing things now because the Creator is sending us stuff and He's telling us we're ready. But we're going to have a major effect, and the Black Male Community Council will be coming to a neighborhood near you. One of the outcomes, the major outcomes I would like to see is a reduction in some of the senseless gunplay and gun violence of our youth, giving them alternative things to do, alternative ways of life, securing them with employment and different options, just giving them different options. Basically, another of the outcomes I want to see is our people uniting. If they start seeing a little bit of us uniting it, because I believe that it's a lot of disunity which turns into a lot of the disrespect. And I believe that there's power when black brothers come together to do something. It's a historical fact. 3, I just would like to try to do something in terms of a lot of our falling children that have already been murdered. We need to be a voice for them and talk to them, and just not let our brothers and our sisters be killed out here in vain. That there's people out here that love them, and we need to let our brothers know that these are our children out here. We love them and we here for them.
I am Michael Kennedy. I am one of the vice presidents of the Guardian Civic League. I'm also a former police officer, and I am a 66-year resident of Philadelphia, this great city.
Tell me, what does the Black Male Community Council mean to you?
It means a lot. It's a group of brothers coming together to finally try to get a hold of what's going on in the city with the killings and robberies and just the confusion that our young brothers and sisters are in.
Okay. Why did you join the Black Male Community Council?
I belong to several organizations. I belong to 100 Black Men of Philadelphia. I belong to the Guardian Civic League. I belong to, I can't even remember how many organizations I have belonged to, but the whole Men United for a Better Philadelphia, we're trying to just get together, like I said before, just come together, unify our resources and pull everything together so that one group is not pulling against another group, and this group has an idea, that group has an idea, but we all have the same idea. But let's work together. Let's not waste our resources. I do not know what effects we will have, but I hope it's positive. I hope that we can change the minds and lives of young brothers with their pants hanging down. I want to see them walking down the street with their pants pulled up. I want brothers to take respect into our sisters and respect them when they're on the subway or the train or the bus, not to use foul language. If you see a sister standing, offer her a seat. I know that women's rights are out there and women are pushing for equal rights, but we still, as men, have to treat women like women. I also want our children to be safe in the community that they live in, be able to play in the playgrounds. I'm tired of hearing about women and young kids getting shot by stray bullets. I'm tired of listening outside of in my house after bullets and gunshots. I'm tired of hearing the helicopters flying over every night. I'm tired of hearing, and like I said, I was a police officer. I've held brothers in my arms as they died. I prayed for brothers. I asked brothers, who did this? And some brothers just want to go out. I'm not snitching. I'm not snitching. But that you're protecting somebody's going to do this to somebody else.
Okay.
I believe that being an ex-police officer, I believe that being an ex-supervisor on the railroad, that gives me certain qualities. Being a father, I had to mediate a lot of situations between not only my 3 sons, but my sons and my wife. Rephrase that, because number 1 is the shootings go down big time. Next is the crime goes down. And the next thing is that we have more respect for one another as man to man, and our streets are safer.
The Black Male Community Council means progress for the black man. There's been a lot of organizations. There's many organizations that represent the black community, but I decided to help organize this community because of the leadership. Organization and helping our younger adults, adolescents, the younger men, the younger women see real men at work.
Okay.
I would like to see is some of the young black African American men, women, and children change their mind state. I want us to be an example of what it is like to be a whole human being, or have the integrity. I want them to also help them to understand and educate the community, our particular community, like no other culture, that we are missing, and we have a disease in our culture that can, at some point, be arrested. And then we can begin to grow. And the third thing is for them to see men at work as an example. Men at work doing the boots on the ground and the hands on deck work that's required in our community, not just talk.